Hi everyone. It's fearsomely fast and overflowing with chirpy, elasticated grunt, but it's also incredibly smooth, friendly and accessible. Thanks to clever mapping and electronics that let you squeeze out every last drop out of performance in complete safety. It's lighter in real life than it looks on paper, and its extra kilos give it a sense of grown-upness and a solid connection with the road. It isn't as razor-sharp as a pure super naked or as plush as some, but the Z H2 still impresses in the bends while being comfortable, well-equipped and packed full of supercharged charm. It stomps on the scales at a claimed 239 kilograms, full of fuel, but don't get too hung up on that seemingly stodgy figure. The Z H2 doesn't feel clumsy or ponderous, and instead it nudges easily into corners with the lightest touch on the bars, and anyway, for the road, a bit of weight isn't a bad thing. It gives the Kawasaki a reassuring feeling of solidity, and the ride quality is all the better for its ability to waft over bumps, like a tourer. Up the ante, and the Z H2 remains balanced and predictable with lots of mechanical grip and feel built into its new trellis frame and double-sided swing arm. There's enough control and feedback from the suspension and stickiness from the Pirelli Diablo Rosso 3 tires to take liberties with the front into corners and scrape the pegs at full lean. And with traction control up to there with the best road-going superbike systems, you can take unimaginable liberties with 197 bhp in complete safety. New monoblock Brembo M4.324 piston radial calipers, and Nissan Master Cylinder combo, aren't lacking in feel or reassuring power. But on track it's easy to get the abs to chime in under very heavy braking. Like all big Kawasaki's, it's unflappable at high speed, and although top whack is around 175 miles per hour, its minimal bodywork and tiny clock screen offers so little wind protection you won't be visiting those naughty numbers for long. It might be drafty, but it's roomy and all-day comfy. The high and wide 19-litre fuel tank gives the Z H2 a satisfying sense of solidity, the seat is plush, fat bars are canted naturally towards you, and low pegs give knees an easy time. Cruise control is standard, which not only keeps a check on your speed on the boring bits, it takes the strain off your arms and wrists, making just 3 bhp less than its ZX10R sister. The Z H2 force-feeds your senses with unrelenting, genuine superbike levels of acceleration when you hammer its monstrous motor through the gears. Addictive and something you never quite acclimatize to, the Kawasaki howls like a tuned racer on the throttle, and off it the Supercharger chirps like it arranged budgie. But the biggest surprise isn't the Z H2's elegantly ballistic performance, but how easy all that supercharged thrust is to dive headlong into, and that's all down to the boffins. Kawasaki engineers have immaculately crafted the 998cc inline 4's power curve and programmed its new 6-axis IMU-controlled electronics to cleverly pin the front wheel to the floor, without you ever feeling its silicone leash pulling you back. Crack the throttle and it just goes. Your only job is to try and hang on. For a motor so potent that Kawasaki test riders said it twisted the Z H2's chassis in the early stages of development, it's unbelievably civilized and predictable. For normal riding, the Kawasaki is as docile as a roadster with half the power. Its controls are light as a commuter's, its MotoGP-derived dog ring gearbox crisp. The up-down quick shifter precise, and with 101 ft-lb or torque to play with, there's never a shortage of instant shove when you need it. There's a slight jerk picking up a closed throttle at low speed. But from there the supercharged delivery is gentle at low revs, making it easy to manage for slow speed work. Power builds gently through the mid-range before the Supercharger gets into its stride, and the next thing you know the Z H2 has grabbed you by the lapel and pinned you to its 12,000 revolutions per minute red line. Kawasaki has pulled off the neat trick of making the Z H2's 998cc inline 4 as powerful as a superbike, but with the kind of torque figures you'd only ever expect see in an engine with much larger capacity. The secret is to go down the forced air induction route. An exhaust-driven turbo has too much lag, so Kawasaki went for a supercharger, and the 2015 Ninja H2 was the first production motorcycle to use one. Chain-driven from the crank, it's geared to run at 9.2 times the crank speed, feeding the motor with air to boost power. The Kawasaki is in the super naked league when it comes to cost, but it's neatly finished, well screwed together, and judging by H2 owner reviews, its supercharger technology is robust. Engine service intervals are generous at every 7,500 miles. Thanks for watching.